Hi, I'm Stuart Quinn. This is part 5. Sorry about rubbing hands. I noticed I was doing that on the last video. Yeah, this is part 5 in relation to the issues I'm having with my Indian motorcycles from the dealers now, not just one, the 2 local dealers, and also Polaris Britain, I think they're called now. I kept referring to them as Polaris UK, but I think it's Polaris Britain Limited. So, Polaris Britain Limited are responsible for sales and motorcycles in the UK, and I believe in the EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So, obviously, in my previous videos, I've given a bit of detail on what's been going on, and this one I would go through some of the communication or lack of, or the communication which I seem to be hitting my head against a brick wall. Not only with the dealer was completely waste of time. Polaris Britain are hiding behind emails and don't want to answer anything. They tell me I have to speak to certain people. I try, they never reply, so I try somebody else and I'm told I'm not to speak to them. It's confusing, and as I said before, I desperately then turn to America because I've got a vested interest in the bikes. They're not cheap. I've got a vested interest in the way of life, the Indian Motorcycle Riders Group, the people I've met here abroad and especially in America, very important to me. So they all surrounded the ownership of the motorcycles. So it's not just a simple situation of, oh, if you're not happy, go to another brand. I'm invested in the brand and I've done nothing to warrant the treatment I'm getting. That is the reason for these videos. If people want to watch them, they'll watch them. If they don't, they don't. I haven't got that much of a subscription at the minute. Don't have many subscribers. I do have people that contact me in regard to seeing these. The views are getting higher every time I produce a video. They're not in the level that anybody's worried, oh, you know, he's spreading bad news about us, which is not the intention. I am just spreading what is actually happening. So when I say vested interest, basically, as I said before, I got Scout 2019. I get heavily involved in the local IMRG. I'm asked to do certain things. I supplied a stage, which was probably £1,200 worth free of charge for one event, which was the last official national IMRG event in 2019. Not had one since. We then got the situation where I tried to encourage more rides because the dealer obviously was very busy. He didn't like doing anything other than the Sunday, but then it followed a Saturday where people would be drinking and it's not advisable to go riding the next day. That is one reason I stopped riding with them in the end. So I threw myself into it a little bit too much. My wife told me I'll get burnt. I should have listened. We had a business that had access to a motorcycle themed area. We used to do a start of season barbecue for the local IMRG, which again at our cost. So we invite people over. First year we had people come down from, well, the furthest was from Orrell. He came all the way down from Orrell. We had a few come from Weston-super-Mare. A couple came from Wales. It was a good event. I think we had about 46 on the first one we had. So yeah, I was throwing myself into it. I would listen to the dealer. I thought the dealer was my friend, which that was a big mistake. So again, there's 2 simple questions which still haven't been answered. Are wheel bearings lasting 40,000 miles? Is that normal? Possible, yeah. Normal, no. And then 3 months, 4 months of brake issues, which cost me a hell of a lot of money and potentially damaged the bike. I don't want to go through every communication for this video because you'll lose interest if you haven't already. There was a hell of a lot going backwards and forwards. I got nowhere from the dealer, I got nowhere from Polaris, but I did do a couple of spreadsheets. So as you can see, there's one here. That one's 14 pages. That one contains things I was told by Owner Connections, by Polaris Britain, by the dealer, by UK Tech, and statements that were made to me and the issues I had with them. Now, I was writing letters explaining the situation, which probably went into too much depth. So they requested me to reduce the information and put an outcome as to what I was looking for recourse. Now, before that, I did another list, this spreadsheet here, which basically outlines the issues, the dates I had them, reports, costs, etc., what it cost me for certain things to have done. And as I said before, the Roadmaster in 3 years cost me over £11,000. That's service, repairs, etc., etc. I've yet to add on the transport costs of sending it all the way to Poole to have a warranty part fitted, because obviously they didn't sort the brakes out again, and I was allowed to ride the bike again. So that was 4 hours to get back to here. They deemed it safe for me to ride with the brakes in the condition after they put on the service sheet. The calipers were in very poor condition and needed replacing. So the first spreadsheet, I'm going to have to put my glasses on, and it's quite sunny outside, so they'll probably have a glare. Bought the bike March 2020. So in December 2020, I was advised to have a winter coat, etc. on the bike. It had tyres, brakes. It was basically got ready for winter. So that's what I was advised. And I did it. Cost over £400. Then I had a problem with the engine casing. Basically the paint started coming off the top of the engine casing. So that one was replaced on warranty. It was just as well, because that would have been into the thousands. Oh no, in 21, wall bonnet rusting. The wall bonnet on the front fender was rusting along inside the metal plate. It's happened to quite a few of the bikes. A few of my friends, they're keeping them in garages. They ride them, don't ride them all year round. It's happened to theirs as well. Basically, the glass shows the metal plate underneath, and it looks like the warhead's got a bit of a beard. I asked them a couple of times, could they change it, or could they take the plate off, clean the rust up or whatever, and then reseal it. They said they would, and then after 2 services of forgetting, I decided to do it myself. So I took the front fender off, and I took the wall bonnet off. Now, a lot of you will be thinking, well, why didn't you do that before? I bought a high premium bike off what I thought was a high premium company, purely because I want to ride the bloody thing. I'm not interested in maintenance unless I have to. I want to do the bare minimum, which I've always said, but I want to do enough to keep the bike in a high condition because I've spent a lot of money on it. So I rely on that dealer to do everything else. Everything else in between, if he recommends something, it gets done. So that's the way it works. So obviously I took the wall bonnet off, then to find the screws underneath all rounded off, so I couldn't get the plate off. So next time I was in the dealer, I said to him, look, I tried getting off. Oh yeah, we did give it a go. We rounded it off. So they've damaged it and not told me. So I go to do it myself, can't be done. That's just a little snippet of what was starting to happen. Then we have the infamous problem of the wheel bearings going. So this was October 21. Rear wheel bearings, they went. Again, I was told wear and tear part happens regularly, not an issue. I did question it. I said surely they should last longer than that, and I was told the exact words of it's normal. It's normal for the bearings to only last 14,000 miles. And obviously since then I found out 30 would be not very good, 50 would be average. Yes, possible to go a lot earlier depending how it's used. Now if I was trying to go across country, across the fields, do a bit of rallying on it, yeah, that would affect the lifespan of the bearing, but no. So obviously first year I was told to have it winter coated. I did that. Second year I thought I'll go one step further, so I had it silicon coated on a system that I paid to last me 3 years. Now bearing in mind I also wash it down once a week with a lance, because I was told not to use a jet wash, so I do it with a lance, and after a long ride I would always wash it down. Custom paint, it's got over 2 grand's worth of custom paint on it, so I want it looking half decent. I'm not a chrome polisher, so I tend to have the dark horse, the darker version, so that's why I bought the dark horse. So yeah, reliant fully on the dealer to guide me on what I needed to do. So this is one of my main problems with all of this. They keep turning it around saying it's the rider's fault if there's a problem with the bike. Not the only brand that does it. Then it's, oh, there's salt on the road, but these days the salt is designed to go into the tarmac to last longer. What period of time should you be riding? If this is what they're saying, oh, it's the salt on the road that affects it. Bear in mind it's washed down in the winter after a ride. Then we're coastal, so we naturally got salt in the air all the time. Coast to coast, we're not a big county, so at what time do we say the roads are safe not to have salt on the road to then be able to not point the finger? Christmas time, we have a lot of traffic down here at Christmas time. People coming to see relatives, people coming on breaks. They're driving up and down the motorways with all this salt. We got coastal areas up to the M5 as soon as you leave Devon and Cornwall, Somerset. Then you've got coastal area. How far does that salt get? So this crap about, oh, there's too much salt, you've ruined your bike because you're riding it all year round, it's rubbish. What period are they saying you can ride safe to, and what period are they saying you can't ride safe to? So I don't agree with that. As I said before, the bikes are designed, and one of the main offices is Medina in Minnesota, so they've got worse conditions than we have, and they are riding as just about as much as they like all year round, unless it's thick snow. But I still see pictures of some of them trying to ride in the snow. Conditions, off-roading, just go to $1 Million Brogan. Go see what he does on his Road King. Yes, it might not always been filmed, but I genuinely think he is out there on his own and showing the problems he has. And he doesn't have the issues we have, or that I've had, with just riding on tarmac. So I think a lot of what they say has got to be taken with a pinch of salt, because they are just quoting off a list, a script. They're working to script. So anything to get them out of giving you a proper service is working to a script. So then after we had this issue with the bearings, which obviously I wasn't happy about, I developed a problem with the starting. So this was early 22. So I kept reporting to them there was a starting issue, cylinder misfires, there was different things coming up on the screen about knock sensors, etc. Now I am told I had 2 sets of knock sensors fitted on the bike over this period. They replaced an ambient air temperature as well. I've had 2 starter motors, starter solenoid, 3 batteries, and a bike less than 3 years old at this point. So I'm getting all these warning lights on. So it's really after this bearing issue I then started getting the engine management light on just about the whole time. Struggle starting, etc. And if there's an issue, anything, I would just Facebook message one of the mechanics, who at the time said, that's fine, if you're worried about it, just send it over. So there's no issue of me not letting them know. And this was done at their request. They were happy for it at the time. Now, since then, they've tried to make out that I was badgering them, sending them too much information. So I don't know at what time or what point too much information or too little. I'm confused. That is why everything's written down, and I expect everything in writing. Now, bear in mind, we got the situation as well that on the service sheets, they don't write down any notes. You have a labour cost, you have a parts cost. So we don't even get the parts itemised out. So if there's 5 parts put on it, you get one price. So I don't know what things are actually costing me. I have asked them to split that down. They've refused and will not do it. Now, done a little bit of research, and I think that's against the Consumer Act. But again, they're not bothered about that, neither are Polaris. And I have reported it to both. So the starting issues were starting in early 22. In April 22, I started getting problems with the fuel as well. I started getting problems with the fuel in April, and then I was told that's my ambient air temperature sensor. So they'd ordered one, said that's not a normal part, so they don't hold it in stock. Had to come from America. And at that time, I also had an issue with the bike cutting out when we were overtaking. It would go into limp mode, you'd have to pull up, turn it off, on, and then it would sort itself out. Today, I still don't have a report on what that could have been. It happened 3 times. So I don't know if that was connected to this ambient air temperature or what it was connected to. Again, they will not give you the information of what's been sorted to deal with these situations or sort these problems out. So as I said previously, from then April to August, I had bad fuel issues, I had freewheeling issues. It went in 3 times to have the brakes looked at specifically, and I think, as I said before, at least 2 of those times the pads were changed. And it also had 2 services over that period, separate to those 3 occasions. And it was the second service at 25,000 that I was told that the rear brake disc was blue, which again is evidence that that was the cause. The brakes were the cause the whole time at 4 months. And then 2-3 weeks later, my clutch then failed. I had to have the clutch done. So just going back on sensors, like I said, I had the ambient air temperature sensor, I've had the NOx sensors twice, and I think I've had ABS 4 times. Now, I should know. The reason I say I think is because, again, this dealer wouldn't produce paperwork for warranty work. Now, in the past, other vehicles I've had, company vehicles, whatever, anything warranty, you get paperwork at a nil value, so you've got a record of what that bike's had done to it or what that vehicle's had done to it. But no, you don't get any paperwork. And I did a subject access request to get the paperwork, which they very kindly sent me when I was in an induced coma after my stroke, which was time sensitive. So I think when I came out, I did see it on the computer. Didn't realise it was time sensitive. I just come out of hospital. I technically died, so I came back out of hospital. I saw the form on the screen. It was 1 sheet, didn't give half the information I've been told had been done to my bike. So that then led to questions. Had the dealer done half the work he had told me he'd done? It wasn't warranty work. What was done? There was more questions than answers. So since then, I've done a subject access request to get that form sent to me or allow me to print it, and they've refused to do that. They've ignored that. I've also asked for a subject access request for any documentation, any emails, any pictures in relation to me or either of the Indian motorcycles I own, which under advice from legal sources, they are required to do. Now, all I get from Polaris is, according to GPRD, we do not have to provide this information because it contains sensitive information we don't want you to have. So I've even written to them and say, well, you've still got to provide that documentation, just redact what you don't want me to see, but you need to explain why you're redacting. But again, they refused to do that. And they've made it clear to me that they will fight that all the way. They don't mind throwing money at it. They'll put solicitors onto it to make sure whatever I request, whether it's a legal request or not, they will tie me up in court for God knows how long and cost till I run out of money. I've run out of money anyway. I just had a major incident in my life which nearly killed me. I've had to shut my businesses because I can't work no more at the moment. I'm in recovery, and this situation is more than likely why I am in the health problems I'm in. It has been a millstone round my neck for the last 2 or 3 years. It really has. Now, a long time ago I said I will only refer to my motorcycles as Indian motorcycles. As far as I'm concerned, the dealer I will never want to have any dealings with again, the local dealer, and obviously he doesn't want to have dealings with me. And as far as the manufacturers are concerned, I refer to them as Polaris. Now, the more I get to know other riders in other countries, Polaris seems to be set up as 3 main entities for the motorcycles. You've got Polaris Inc. that covers Northern America. You've then got Polaris Britain, who I've already said covers the EMEA, and then you've got Polaris in Vietnam, which covers Asia, which I only just found out about. But all 3 seem to run things differently. But one thing I do know, Polaris Britain do not have a complaints procedure. So anyway, I've outlined what's on that sheet. There's a hell of a lot more information in there, which loads of letters to UK Tech, loads of letters to Rider Connections, Polaris Britain, and Polaris. So we go on to this other form that I had to put together for Polaris. This was prior to a meeting I had with them, which will be in the next video. At the minute, I made a video 2 days after they came down to meet me, and basically formed the minutes from that, and it's quite raw. I end up crying in it because of the pressure I was under at the time. As I said in the last video, I'm a lot healthier, or feel a lot healthier, although I'm nowhere near where I need to be to stand to live a normal life. I've had to surrender my license, and I think I can apply for it again in September. So that's very hard for me at the minute, very hard indeed. And this situation has not helped me one iota. So we had the wheel bearing issue again. I was asked what I wanted the outcome to be. Now, as far as I'm concerned, for it to fail at 14,000, there had to be another underlying issue. Due to them not investigating an underlying issue, I said really that should have been covered under warranty, or it should have been explained to me why it didn't last so long. Yes, wear and tear part, but it's not even lasting half its supposed lifespan. What is the reason? Now, I did ask for a written apology from the dealer for informing me that it was normal, because it's certainly not normal, but Polaris are happy for that to happen and do not think there's a problem. Now, the brake issue, I asked them to investigate or look into, through the documentation I gave them and the information that they've been given from the dealer, I asked for an answer as to why it took 4 months to work out the calipers were causing a major issue with the bike. In other words, I was losing 40 to 60 miles per tank for that whole period. And basically during that period, the dealer did actually say to me that it's not his job to clean parts of my bike for me. So he expects me to buy a large bike lift and strip down the back, get to the brake system and clean it myself. Which on a big bagger, I would think there's 5% of people that have the ability to do that. You take it to the dealer on the regular servicing to be able to achieve that. You expect them to put the regular servicing into such a way that it covers. Now, it doesn't matter how much I use the bike, the service is based on miles. So if I did 5,000 miles a week, it would go in for a weekly service. Again, I asked for a written apology that they didn't undertake this service properly, which is clear from the information I've given already. I asked them to look into if there was an issue with the electronics, because I was getting so many problems with different sensors. There'd be speed sensors dropping out. Occasionally I'd lose the speedo, the ABS being on most of the time, or just randomly the engine management light coming on because there's a knock sensor or something's misfired, or you know, I think it must be about a 2-week period I would have no engine management light on. I stated to them that the starter solenoid are corroded, which is probably due to me riding all year round, but then I asked them to have a look, or to think, is it situated in the right place? Has it got enough protection around it? Because obviously I did wash it down, and also the fact that I'd had 2 starter motors and 3 batteries. Again, no comment. Again, I did mention about the war bonnet and what had happened around that. Again, no comment. So what really started this communication with Polaris? I got nowhere with the dealer and I was a little bit fed up, but I was deciding what to do next, whether to use a different dealer, etc. We had been informed there was going to be a dealer in Plymouth, so we were hoping that would happen, or at least for them to put the effort in, put one in Somerset. After all, there's plenty up north, but we seem to be restricted down here for some reason. Polaris had started this rally pin promotion. Basically, you're all given like a little Indian motorcycle passport. You would then travel to a dealer would have a stamp, put their stamp on it. So there was this competition to see how many who would ride the most miles, get the most stamps in their passport. I mean, there was only one guy that spent most of his time going around all the dealers. We knew he was going to get it, and he did. But you register for that, you do that, and at the end of it, you take a picture or whatever, you let them know it's done, then you get sent a pin. Not a nice RMRG rally pin. So I'd never received my pen, so I just made contact with Polaris Connections. I think it's one of the first points of contact I've ever had with them about this rally pin. So they came back to me and said it doesn't show you're registered for this item or you never registered for the rally. So I informed them I did. I then sent them photos, because I had the 6 dealers I went to. I sent them photos of my passport being stamped, which was a bit of a kick in the teeth, because my wife and I had just come back from a long trip where we've been to, I think, about 8 or 9 dealers, and this rally was started late into the season, which is a bit of a shame because we could have participated earlier. So anyway, I requested this pen, so then I was told it'd be sent out. So at the end of the email, the lady that dealt with it was very good. She then said to me, was there anything else she could do to help? So we were due to go to America. I knew with COVID the factory tours had stopped, so I just asked her for a bit more information on that, if the factory tours were going to start again. And she came back, you need to contact them direct. Is there anything else I can do for you? Now, the wheel bearing issue still rattling around in my head, and obviously the issues I had with the brakes and the cost of everything. I said to them, well, is there somebody technical I could talk to? You've been very fair to me. You've returned my inquiries quite quickly. Is there somebody in technical I could possibly get a second opinion from? So then she gave me the UK Tech details, and I wrote to them basically outlining the issues I'd had. And at the start of the email, I said to them, at no point do I want the dealer involved, because he hadn't come forward with the information to date. He was very anti anybody asking any questions to anybody else about what he was doing. That will be in another video about a certain event we tried to do. Again, at the end of the email, I just stated, this is for a second opinion. I do not want the dealer involved because it was cause issues and it will shut all doors for me. Within 20 minutes of me sending that email, I had the dealer on the phone, as I said before, swearing, asking me why I contacted Indian Direct. And all I said to him, well, you can't be asked to let me know any of the questions I've asked you. Spreadsheet I sent Indian, there and there are the 2 statements at start and end of that email. So they've got it. So that was sent on the 9th of February 2023, and then 9th February 2023 I got a very comprehensive reply from UK Tech, basically saying that they're heavily involved, their dealers, so they had already informed their dealer, which obviously I already knew because he'd rung me. And I think they betrayed my trust as a customer. You know, I requested them not to divulge this information, and they did. So whether that's a legal issue or not, I can't find out. Now, they went into quite a lot of detail on certain issues I hadn't covered on my letter or email, and certain issues I had. So that is very obvious that was premeditated. And they made reference to pictures and statements the dealer had sent to them, which led them to start saying I misuse my motorcycle. So now Polaris, of me requesting a bit more information because I'm not happy, have stated I misused the motorcycle. Now, bearing in mind it's serviced on the dot when it's required, and I've never refused any work to be done to the bike, I was a bit taken aback by this. After all, at that point it was like 7,000 to 8,000 I forked out on the bloody thing. So I found that quite a bold statement to say I've misused it. And subsequently I've requested subject access request for that information to be supplied to me. They've refused. I've also had a statement from one of the directors of Polaris to say they only receive pictures and reports for warranty work, not service work. And I know the only time I was told pictures have been sent was around the time I wrote this letter, because the dealer told me. But again, he would not supply me the pictures, and I did request them. I'd recently come back from a trip to Wales, a 2 to 3 day trip, and bearing in mind February, the roads weren't the best, and I have got video of the trip I did. So when I got back, I think it was booked in the next day to have work done. That was to have the drive pulley and drive belt changed on the as it's required of 30,000 miles, and I had a chance to quickly wash the outside and give it a bit of a blast with the lance. So I know things were said about the underside, but then a 3-hour trip on the roads into Wales. Now, bear in mind, there's no other notes or accusations of misuse up to that point. I'm still dumbfounded as to why they would warrant a statement like that. And again, it wasn't warranty work. So I've been told by their director they would only do pictures or reports for warranty work. So that again backs up premeditated reply, because I had written to the dealer saying, look, if you don't supply me the information I've requested in writing, I will have to seek legal recourse, and I need my service sheets itemised out so I know what parts have cost me separate to labour. So I know he wasn't happy about that, so this has all been done premeditated. So they've now made a statement to me that because I ride it all year round, I've misused it. So that leads me to the question, I've bought a touring bike in this country. At the time I bought it, I was not told you can only ride it certain months of the year. I was not told it wasn't designed for this country. Again, they have made a reference to it's not designed for the roads in this country. So that in itself means they've stated it's not fit for purpose. It is not designed for the roads in this country. They also go on to say in this email that I need to do extra maintenance, extra rider maintenance, because I'm in the UK. So I did write a response to that later on, itemising out that I wasn't happy and I wanted clarification on certain things. And one of them was, I requested the reports, I requested the photos. I then said, if they're stating it's not suitable for riding in the UK all year round, they need to let me know when it is safe to ride it. They also, when they stated that I need extra maintenance, I said, well, surely you're selling in this country, the manual should have the extra maintenance for selling it in this country. So I said, if you've forgotten to put that in, so if you could let me know what you think extra maintenance is, other than me getting it serviced on time, washing at least once a week, and giving it a visual check and checking all the information the computer's telling me. Bear in mind, this is a high-end tourer. It tells you how much air you got in your tires, it tells you the oil temperature, it tells you everything. But you can visually still look at it when you walk up, you know if you've got a tyre down. Riding it, you know if you've got a problem with the tyre. You rely completely on the information that's on that screen. Now, as I said to you, 9 times out of 10 the engine light's on, So then you then ring the dealer up when the engine's light on, and they will then let you know, well, the engine light comes on doesn't necessarily mean there's a major problem. So that's another question. So I've asked them is, well, shouldn't there be a better way of indicating what's up? Because if the engine management light's coming on for something that isn't important, surely you should have definition from a warning orange to a red do not use, but they don't. So each time that orange light comes on, I inform the dealer, and then the dealer gets fed up with me keep talking to them. So really don't get it. The only thing that they did confirm was that faulty brakes will cause your fuel issue and will cause the clutch to go. So digging through the information they put on the email, they have actually confirmed that the faulty brakes did cause the brake disc issue, it did cause the clutch issue, and there's a possibility it's done some damage to the engine. To owner connections, basically with the information on the data, or the data they've taken off the warranty system, they've examined the history of the service and the warranty work performed on my motorcycle, and did find there was deficiencies that backed up the statements of misuse, but they didn't find anything in that information to flag up that they felt that the dealer had done anything wrong. So bearing in mind there was constant entries about replacing brakes in a 4-month period and then doing the brake disc. So rear brake pads changed, brake disc went blue. Why did I go through so many brake discs? I wasn't going 100 mile an hour pulling up behind tractors. So again, I had another communication in March from Owner Connections, and they basically said, taking into account that you use the motorcycle all year round, also the conditions with lower temperatures and adverse dirt, dust and road grit, it is important that it is inspected and serviced more frequently than usual. More information can be found in owner's manual. So all I found in the owner's manual was riding on dirt, dust and debris is classed as misuse, and all the other information on the other 2 pages already being done under the usual day-to-day things you would do with a motorcycle: get on and off it, check the computers, or check the screens not telling you there's something wrong, clean it on a regular basis. Now they quoted me dirt, dust and debris, so I then said to them, I ride it on the roads that your sat nav takes me on. It's a tarmac road, so can you clarify this dirt, dust and debris? And the other thing I do not like is they attach the warranty, which has the statement your warranty is void if you ride under dirt, dust and debris. So at this point they've started to actually threaten my warranty because I've made these complaints about the dealer. So there's another section I get back from the Owner Connections, which again they're referencing photos. So they're referencing photos submitted on warranty claims. It is clear that the motorcycle is used in adverse conditions, so that has caused the inefficiency of the motorcycle. That's a statement from Owner Connections, and again, I don't get it. I'm told they only take photos of warranty work. So what have I had under warranty? Engine casing when the paint peeled. No notes, nothing to say that they had to strip the bike down completely and clean because it's been used in adverse conditions. What other warranty? Sensors, knock sensors. No notes to say that the bike was in a filthy state, that I wasn't looking after it. Now this was dated March 23, so these sensors started to go in early 22, so a year's passed. ABS sensors failing on the front. No notes that because I've ridden through a puddle that the ABS sensors suddenly decided it doesn't like water and has gone up itself. No notes to say that that has caused any issues at all. I did have the crossover exhaust changed, but that again was early 23, which I choose to ride all year round. I don't think it should have gone that early. It probably is a little bit difficult to spray completely underneath because of the way the size of the bike and the way it's manufactured. So I didn't argue with that. I just paid for it to get done. Now, if I'd had the same problem with the whole exhaust, yes, I would have complained. I would have said that's not right, that's not correct. Now, these bikes have a 5-year warranty. 2 years on paint, cosmetics, that side of things, and the 5 years is on the powertrain, the engine, and the electronics. Now, as far as the electronics are concerned, the definition of that is a part that produces a signal to the ECU that is not wear and tear. As far as I'm concerned, as I said before, ABS is that. It's not a wear and tear part. So what are they referencing? What pictures could have been taken to say that I've driven in adverse conditions? So the only pictures that have ever been taken were 2 weeks before that statement, when I came back from a 3-day trip in Wales and they fitted the drive pulley and drive belt. Again, no notes on the paperwork. It was just a dealer showed me a photo on his phone and said, I've sent that to Polaris. Now, in Polaris's own words, they would not do that unless it's a warranty job. This was not a warranty job, so they had no reason to send them photos other than trying to cover someone's backside for a major fuck up. Sorry about the language, but it just is absolutely ridiculous. I've written letters just before this statement's made to me that the dealer's done wrong and Polaris is doing nothing about it. And I get a premeditated reply from UK Tech, which has got information contained in it of conversations with the dealer that aren't contained in my letter. So that was premeditated between the dealer and UK Tech, knowing that I was going to be writing this next level of complaint because the rest weren't dealt with. So as I said, I've done a subject access request for this information they keep referring to, which they refuse to produce, which again is against the law. But my problem is I can't afford to pay solicitors to put time and money into this, so they just treat me with any form of respect as a customer. Nothing. Now again, this then ramped up, so I went to one of the main directors who covers UK and Europe. He started off by giving me the runaround, and then he then started backing up what I was previously told. And he would then refer me straight back to Owner Connections. He then said, well, go back to them, they will answer your questions. Because again, up to this point, they haven't directly answered anything I've asked of them. They've only ever pointed the finger. So to simplify things, I then sent individual questions to Owner Connections about the bearing, about the sensors, about the brake issue, all as individual subjects. To this day, they've never replied to me, and this director have said to me it's only Owner Connections that will reply to me on that issue. So like I said, there's 14 pages of this going backwards and forwards. So in desperation, I've attended an event in America, Indian Bike Week. Best event I've ever attended in my life. Best event myself and my wife have ever attended in our lives. We met some really great people, all around India motorcycles, the love of the brand, and the common interest you have. Yeah, fantastic time. We've been twice now. Fantastic people. Really opened my eye. Few of them gave me tips on who maybe to try and contact. I was given lists of people at Polaris to contact. Picked a selection of about 6 or 7 names, and I just then started copying a lot of the information to them that UK Tech told me, and it never really got a bit. I didn't really get any replies. I then, the second year we went to Indian Bike Week, as I think I said in the last video, I put a clip of a phone conversation. We tried to get a meeting at Medina to try and see someone in customer services. That didn't play ball. Then I had a reply from the CEO saying he would get his team onto it, and again, that's never happened. So all I get now, if I write to Polaris, I'll in America, I will just get Polaris Britain, answer me, do not write to America. So they gave me a list of 3 people I need to write to on the issues I have. So then if I write to any of those 3 people, they don't reply to me. So basically they shut me out. So in desperation, I had a conversation with another friend who then gave me a email of another guy in America who was on the promotional side of things, and previously customer relations. So I wrote to him, just outlining that I didn't want to make these videos. It's taken me so long, obviously because of my health issue, but the health issue was brought on by this anyway. I've had so many threats from Polaris. Do they want this out in the social media zone? I said, I don't want to do it, but you'll leave me no option. I either go completely mad. I think I've already gone. People already think I've gone mad. I think I know I've gone mad. But in desperation, I wrote to this guy just saying, someone talk to me. Because if it's made clear that Polaris Inc. do not give a shit about their customer and happy for that customer's life to be put in danger, happy for that customer to be overcharged for work that's not been done, happy for that customer to have him and his wife's lives put in danger by being told work's been done on brakes and it hasn't been done on brakes, and the majority of issues I've had have been around the brakes. Now, I've even mentioned that it's a Friday afternoon bike, but nobody will take the situation seriously and follow it through. So each time I've written to them, I've tried to get communication with me because I'm very passionate about the bikes. I think they're an incredible machine. The Indian motorcycle name has got incredible history, but Polaris don't seem to give a shit. Under 24 hours after I wrote that email in desperation to try and get someone to talk to me, I have a threatening letter from Polaris Poland, basically saying if I speak to anybody in America again, I'll be taken to court. They stated there that they've answered all the questions I need, and they haven't. So I'll try and wrap it up on the next video because it's taken too much my time up. They're not going to change anything. They're not going to do it. They don't fucking care. So the next video I wrap up this situation because it will give me closure. It will be surrounding the meeting they had. Now, bearing in mind, August, I was on life support for 4 days. Technically died. December, they decided to come down and have a face-to-face meeting with me, which will be very eye-opening, where I was so delighted they were putting the effort in to come see me to resurrect this situation. It uplifted me. But then it happened. More threats. Yeah, If you're interested, yeah, it will be on the next video, where I will focus it on the Polaris meeting. But yeah, I don't know. So we've had 5 parts so far, so that'll be part 6, final. And I actually did write them a letter saying final letter. Yeah, so basically from making a customer complaint, I'm in danger of losing my bikes. Passion that I've taken very seriously. Yeah, situation just about complete shit service, and a corporation that's basically carried on this shit service, that hopefully Polaris Inc. will want to try and reach out and sort something out. Yeah, I wish they just kept making the Victory instead of tainting a historic motorcycle's name. But it's a shame. It's well engineered, but no customer service.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way, so I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling